Some of the most important leadership conversations happen silently. Not in meetings, not in boardrooms, but in those quiet moments when you pause and ask yourself, why did I react that way? What am I avoiding? Who am I becoming through the way I lead? And yet, most leaders are so busy performing leadership that they rarely pause to reflect on it. Hi, I'm Smita Jain, an executive coach and personal empowerment life coach. And today, I want to talk about 5 proven ways self reflection boosts leadership development and why leaders who grow the most are often the ones who pause the most. So, let me ask you honestly, when was the last time you intentionally reflected on your leadership instead of just reacting to your day? Think about that and drop your responses in the comments. Leadership development is not just about learning new skills. It's about becoming more aware of how you think, how you respond, what drives you, and what may be silently limiting you. And self reflection, it creates that awareness. I have seen this repeatedly in my coaching work. The leaders who evolve the fastest are not always the smartest people in the room. They are often the most self aware. And I genuinely believe this. Some of the strongest leaders are not the ones who always have immediate answers. They are the ones willing to pause long enough to ask themselves better questions. Because awareness changes leadership at a very deep level, and most transformation begins there. With that, let me share with you the 5 powerful ways to achieve that transition. First, self reflection helps you recognize your patterns. One thing I've noticed with many senior leaders, they often know their business deeply, but not always themselves. And without reflection, patterns repeat automatically. The same reactions, the same communication habits, the same emotional triggers. I remember coaching a leader who kept saying, my team doesn't take ownership. But through reflection, he realized something important. He was stepping in too early every single time. The problem wasn't only the team's behavior, it was also the leadership pattern he had consciously created. And this is why self reflection matters so much. Because awareness helps you see the patterns that performance often hides. One simple practice I encourage leaders to build is at the end of every day, pause and ask yourself, what was my role in what happened here? Especially in difficult days, do pause and ask yourself this, what was my role in what happened here? Not from guilt, from curiosity. That one question alone can completely change how you lead. Second, self reflection improves emotional regulation. Leadership pressure is constant. Difficult conversation, deadlines, conflicting expectations. And in those moments, self awareness becomes emotional intelligence in action. Reflection helps you notice what drains you, what triggers impatience, what makes you defensive. And once you notice it, you stop reacting automatically and you start responding more intentionally. I have seen leaders completely transform the tone of their teams simply by becoming more aware of their own emotional patterns first. One small but powerful habit is creating pause before response. Not every email needs an immediate reply. Not every difficult conversation needs instant reaction. Sometimes leadership maturity looks like I need a moment to think before I respond. That pause protects relationships more than people realize. Third, reflection makes your leadership more authentic. And this one is important. Without reflection, many leaders slowly start performing leadership instead of living it. Saying what sounds right, acting how they think leaders should act. But authentic leadership comes from alignment. When your actions, values, communication, and decisions begin matching more consistently. And reflection helps you hear your own voice again beneath all the noise. I remember one leader telling me, I don't even know if the way I'm leading right now actually feels like me anymore. That sentence stayed. Because somewhere in the pursuit of success, many people disconnect from their natural leadership style. One practice that helps here is regularly asking, what kind of leader do people experience when they experience me? Not what title you hold, not what results you drive, but what people actually feel in your presence. Fourth, reflection improves decision making. Fast decisions are not always wise decisions, and leaders who never pause often carry unnecessary noise into their thinking. Reflection creates mental clarity. It gives you space to ask, am I reacting emotionally here? Or am I choosing from pressure or perspective? What's the bigger picture? Sometimes the most strategic thing a leader can do is slow down long enough to think clearly. I've personally noticed that some of the poorest decisions happen when leaders are mentally overcrowded. Too much urgency, too much noise, too little reflection. Which is why I strongly believe leaders need thinking time built into their schedule, not just execution time. Thinking is leadership work too. Number 5, self-reflection prevents leadership drift. This is probably the deepest shift of all. Without reflection, it's easy to slowly drift away from the kind of leader you actually want to be. You become more reactive, more exhausted, less intentional. Not suddenly, but quietly. Reflection brings you back to yourself. It helps you recalibrate not just your goals, but your leadership. One thing I often encourage leaders to do is every few weeks pause and ask, is the way I'm currently leading aligned with the person I want to become? Because growth is not only about achievement, it's about alignment. And reflection helps you notice misalignment before it becomes your normal. That was shift number 5, or number 5 simply. If this conversation resonated with you, I want you to begin with awareness. Take my free leadership blind spots assessment. It's a simple reflection tool designed to help leaders identify patterns that may be quietly affecting how they lead, communicate, and make decisions. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs began with seeing what you could not see before. The link is in the description. Leadership development is not only about growing outward, it's about growing inward. And sometimes the most powerful thing a leader can do is pause. That was all for today. I'll see you the next time. If you liked what you saw in this video, do drop in a comment and share this video in your network.